Oh no, we're live. Whoopsie. Your booty's live. I just harassed engineer Zach. Sorry.
What are you, Michael Darby?
We have... Yes. How dare you? I am Michael Barbie? I'm Michael Barbero.
How's everybody?
Wow! 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 Wee! Whoa! I hope you guys like my background with angry ass Chef Matu yelling at the below deck producers through his camera on in his room before he exited the second time, I believe. I can't even remember anymore how many times he's exited. This was after the drunken night where Lexi popped off as well. So let me tell ya, love this guy. I don't love him. Just wanted to shout out Pineapple Gang. I put up our little cat Pineapple. Maybe my cat will go in and sleep in there at some point, and it'll be really cute. Can you hand me my little pineapple? I'm getting my little pineapple too.
Didn't you just figure out last week that it was a pineapple?
Yeah, I guess I haven't really looked at it. Which is very me. I don't really like look at things. Here's my little glowy pineapple. I need to change the battery so it glows better, but it's definitely glowing, as you can see in my palm. It's just not very good on camera. Now it's
beautiful. We need to get a real pineapple up in here.
I know, but too dangerous, you know?
Too dangerous, like you might eat it and get it on stuff?
It might, like, hit me in the face. And wow, look at this. I'm literally have a pineapple on my microphone. Incredible work here. Okay. Molly, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking a ginger beer.
Wow. A ginger beer.
You know why?
Go ahead. Tell me why.
I'm gonna pretend this was purposeful. Because this week's episode was like all beer themed. They were doing like beer pong.
That's true.
And wearing those shirts that were like, give me beer. So I'm drinking a Reed's ginger beer.
I love that. Reed's is pretty good. I've had that before. I love ginger beer.
Spicy ginger beer.
Wow, the chat really popped off quickly. Hi, Mr. Bible Pants. Molly Sleazy Friends. That's Molly. The Vowels. First time chat chatter. The Vowels. Hi. Welcome to the Pineapple Gang Yachty Club. Mr. Bibles, I'm sorry that you're in flash flooding, but good to know that you're a yachty through it all. Nikki Bex, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Bills. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying the new music. Shout out to engineer Zach, who makes all our beats. He does his thing. Because we don't want to get in trouble for playing licensed music, so.
That's right. He makes the beats. I gotta tell you, could you tell our viewers what is behind you today? And then we'll get to your pitch.
This is Chef Matu, who we learned in this episode, or maybe potentially learned previously, is from Rhode Island. I was in Rhode Island recently, as Molly knows. I went to Newport for one night, and Newport was such a shit show. It's just like all drunk people on the streets, and I was like, what is Newport? And then Chef Matu, this past week, said that he has vomited in the streets of Rhode Island. He knows all about drinking a ton.
Yeah, when we found out he's like based in Newport, seemingly.
Is that where it is? Newport?
Let's really tell the story about Newport that made me think. He's based in Rhode Island. L. Stewart says fitting drink because the Reed's ginger beer founder was on a past season of Below Deck Reg.
That's true.
Wow, I don't even remember that.
He came with like
But-
all his weird like hippie buds, and they all had like long hair, and one guy had to sleep on the couch because there wasn't enough beds.
Correct.
Yeah. So Nikki Beck says apparently 15K is the minimum for a tip on these charters. Was that a known thing? And I didn't even know that was a thing. I had no
Wow,
idea.
Mr. Bible Pants says I also got Reach ginger beer this week. The spicy zero sugar has monk fruit in it, which is not my favorite, but it's fine. That's what I'm drinking right now because they had it at Trader Joe's, and I was like, wanted to switch it up and try something. What is monk fruit?
Monk fruit
all
is
about?
a natural sweetener, but it's like not sugar and it has like no carbs. So a lot of like keto people can eat monk fruit.
Oh, is it a real fruit?
I believe so. It's just like it's like a plant of some sort. I don't know. It's a natural sweetener. I don't know.
Well, all right.
No carbs
I'm a
apparently.
big fan of ginger, the plant.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Big fan of ginger. Yeah, it's like
Bible
stevia.
Plant says it's like stevia. Is stevia also a real plant? Sorry for being an idiot.
I don't know if stevia's a real plant, but it's like, what is it? Erythritol?
Well, that's a scary ass photograph of Matthew pointing at us.
I know, isn't that great?
It's really stressing me out, I have to say.
Do you want me to change it? I'd have to go look up another one.
You don't have to change it. I just wanted to acknowledge that Matthew stresses me out.
No, I'll find an even better one.
Him pointing at me really is stressing me out.
I mean, that's the idea. He's a monster. I just want to remind everyone that, like, this is what we're dealing with, and this is who Captain Sandy allowed to stay on the boat, regardless of his past behavior. Didn't care for it.
God, what an asshole.
I didn't care for it at all.
A little douchebag.
I wish she would have let him go.
I didn't care for it either. I wish she had let him go. I like yelled no. Even when they showed it again the second time, I was like, no, why? Don't let Matthew stay. Okay, what are you drinking? Sorry,
I'm drinking a classic of mine, a Diet Coke in a martini glass.
Ooh, Diet Coke in a martini glass. You know what? I think it really classes up the old Diet Coke, drinking out of a martini glass.
I love it. And I can't not drink one because by the time we stream, I'm so exhausted that I just need a Diet Coke. Because I can't drink a coffee or I'll be up all night. But if I have a nice Diet Coke, it hits the right spot.
I like how you say, or I'll be up all night. But I know from Twitter, you and I are on a similar schedule.
No, I don't sleep. I'll be real with you. I don't sleep at all. But I like to pretend I can.
No, me too. Me too. But I know because we're both on the Australian Twitter tip where it's like 3 a.m. West Coast time and the Australians and British people are tweeting and also us. Also both of us. And then sometimes at each other. Sometimes like,
yes.
Hey, got some bachelor thoughts I didn't tell you earlier.
Yeah, we tweet at each other a lot at a certain hour and also text. Sometimes we're texting and tweeting.
Sometimes, well, because sometimes I'm waiting for you to watch a new episode of something and then I'm just like, when you do, just let it rip.
And I do. I always do.
I'm not available to read all your texts or respond one by one. I still love coming back to like, okay, well, here's all your thoughts. Oh, that's terrifying too.
I want to get the alcohol now.
Alcohol now.
Alcohol now.
Alcohol.
Gotta love drunk white people.
Says nobody. Speaking of drunk white people.
There we go. Is that better? More calming. A wave.
Ooh, we're calming.
It's crashing over you.
Crashing wave.
Maybe next time I'll wear a swimsuit.
We should definitely do a bikini episode just for purposes of realism. They don't wear bikinis though, really, ever. They're always wearing little outfits. We learned that one of the cast members of The White Lotus which shares a lot in common with Below Deck in terms of being about rich people having a leisure experience, and also the not rich people who have to provide the leisure experience for the rich white people. One of the cast members said he watched Below Deck to prepare.
Which, what was his name? Lucas Gage, whose character Dylan, who, if you guys haven't watched, has a really great scene with Armand, who is the hotel manager. Really funny. I recommend, if you guys haven't seen White Lotus, checking it out. It just ended, so
it was great. I called it like a beach read of a show.
Yes. Oh, the Val says that stevia is a real plant. I've grown it. Okay, but erythritol, I don't know how to say that, is man-made, like aspartame.
Aspartame.
All right.
I thought stevia just sounded like it might be a chemical.
Yeah, stevia sounds chemically, but I guess it's not.
Monk fruit sounds real, but that seems like it could be a trick to make you think it's real, and then it's actually like...
It is a trick. I got you.
Got you with monk fruit.
Real quick.
On the other hand, you know what?
Yeah.
All fruit is genetically modified from other fruit. So let's not be fruit purists here. Let's not be fruit fascists.
Well, we're pineapple gang fascists. Everyone knows that about us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the history of pineapples, but
notoriously fascist.
Are they?
I don't actually know, but I said it, so it must be fact. I really quickly want to read what Nikki Bex wrote here. It said there was a charter guest from the current ep on Peacock. One ahead. On the Bravo BDM Below Deck Med, not bondage. Recap Clubhouse room earlier today. Okay, I didn't even know there was a Clubhouse recap room. Clubhouse, man. And she said that Chef Matt is better than Chef Ben? I don't even know what to do with that information.
That's just so wrong. You just can't even take it.
He's just so mean and like complains about everything. I guess the guests don't see that, but he sucks.
Wow. Nikki Beck says pineapples are a symbol of hospitality and wealth. That's my understanding. But
oh. Okay, well.
Dole all fucked up. Isn't Dole like evil?
I'm the richest person you guys all know because I
don't they grow pineapples on plantations? That sounds bad.
Does this not scream money?
Well, you are just the paragon of glamour and excess.
I'm so rich.
I'm so rich I wear a pineapple on my head to set myself apart.
I'm so rich. I'm just joking. I'm not. Let's see. Matthew Ian says I agree with.
Says they're island style-y for sure, which I assume is a reference to Omaha style-y.
They're what?
They're 311 song.
I'm confused.
They're from the islands. I mean, Americans stole Hawaii. LOL. Also true. That's what the White Lotus is about.
Oh, Exactamundo said they're island style.
Yeah.
Got it.
Italians too got them from like somewhere they were trying to colonize.
Ellis Stewart said pineapple suite background for next week. That's a good idea. I should be in the pineapple suite. Damn, that's a White Lotus reference. It's one of the hotel rooms one of the guests stayed in was called the Pineapple Suite. And you know what? I'm pissed that I'm not there right now. Because that's the one I booked.
Mr. Bible Pants says you can grow a pineapple plant from the top of a pineapple with lots of love and even more patience. Wow.
Yeah, I've seen the sped up Instagram videos.
I want to grow a pineapple. I feel like that's the one thing we all learned over the pandemic was how to grow things from the discarded parts of other things. Green onions, mostly. Potatoes.
Yeah. Apples. I don't know actually. If
Yuck
apples.
says, is it a rhizome or some shit that takes like 9 months? Pineapple, just going off the top, I think that's probably a rhizome. Doesn't it look
I don't know what a rhizome
like you
is.
call that a rhizome? Doesn't it look like something that would be called a rhizome?
What is a rhizome?
It's like some complicated mathematical root thing, right?
No, I don't agree. No, I'm just joking. I don't know.
No,
I don't know anything.
no, we don't know. We're just guessing, and that's the fun part. If anyone in the chat knows whether pineapple's a rhizome, what a rhizome is, where pineapples come from originally, we'd love to know all these things because we're not going to look them up right now, but we'd like you to as our viewers. Can we talk a little Real Housewives before?
Yeah, real quick, I want to
Lunch?
ask Matthew Ian Turo. I agree with Matt Rogers about the White Lotus scene. Are you talking about the scene with Dylan and Armand that he spoke about on Las Culturistas? Fill me in, because technically I do produce Las Culturistas, but I have a pea brain memory and I can't remember anything really that goes on. Don't spoil anything because I don't want any spoilers in the chat, but I'm curious if it has to do with that scene specifically.
Every show that you produce is in the Deckheads extended universe.
I know I produce way too many shows and I'm tired. Fucking tired, you guys.
I want to make you a pineapple to crawl inside of the way that your animals can crawl inside of a pineapple. I think that would be nice for you too, if you could just curl up in a pineapple for a few hours. Nikki Beck says, sorry, a pineapple is a bromeliad. Of course.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either, but of course it is. Matthew Ian too says, correct, Anna.
Okay, so
right.
I think I know what you're referring to, and it was, yeah, I also agree. I agree with Matthew Rogers' take on that. Matthew Rogers' take on that. Speaking of, I need to text him back about something. Thank you for the reminder. An episode drops tomorrow. We have some work to do.
And text him during the show because it's that kind of a casual strum.
No, but Hot Engineer Doug has texted me about something. Yes, the episode is ready to go, and I need to upload it for release in the morning. But a little behind the scenes. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about some Real Housewives.
Real Housewives. Really incredible across the franchise. Zoe McPhee, last pineapple thoughts. Pineapples are indigenous to Brazil, and they were imported to Hawaii to be grown. Okay, of course. So a veritable Werner Herzog movie of exploitation and colonialism, probably, in the story of the pineapple.
I do have one question for you, Molly. Have you seen that documentary about Brazil called like Manda Bala?
Not only have I seen it, my friend made it.
Oh, really? I think about that documentary all the time.
Wow, I will tell my friend Joey and his friend Jason who made it. They'll be so happy to hear that.
It's a great documentary. Probably one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow, they're going to be so excited you said this.
I mean, are they? They're going to be like one random person I've never met is like
somebody who knows me, I guess.
Yeah, I just think it's such a great pot. Wait, so who made that documentary?
This guy Jason. God, I was just looking at just followed him on Instagram the other day. Jason, I forget his last name. And my friend Jeff worked on it.
Yeah, that's a great documentary.
Great movie about corruption.
Oh, so Brazil. Good.
I love a good documentary about corruption.
If you guys want to watch a good documentary made in the 90s, so it's a little like dated in that like aesthetically, sure, it's not like HD super whatever.
I think it's like 2003 or something, so it's
Is
like
it?
Yeah, wow. It's probably like digital video or something.
Yeah, that's funny because 2003 feels like 1984 sometimes when you watch stuff and you're
100%.
like, we've come such a long way.
Anything from more than 5 years ago is from like the 50s.
Yeah, but yeah, really recommend this documentary. It's called Manda, Manda Bala, Bala. I believe that's right. Really great documentary about corruption in Brazil and kidnapping, like the kidnapping culture there, like literally how people live. And it interviews a bunch of kidnapping victims and people who are like avoiding being kidnapped. Like really, really wild, amazing documentary. Probably one of my greatest documentaries. That and what was the other one? By Errol Morris, like Thin Blue Line or something like that.
It's a great classic
God, I
documentary.
love documentaries. Okay.
I also love, I just mentioned Werner Herzog, but there are some, I love Werner Herzog's
Mm-hmm.
documentaries, and there's one in particular called The White Diamond
Mm.
that I love.
That's a good one
It's
too.
about a guy who gets obsessed with building a Zeppelin, like a
Right.
hot air Zeppelin. Um, and he already tried to do it once with his friend, and his friend died because people in Zeppelins always die, which is why we don't fucking make Zeppelins anymore. They
Right.
blow up. So he's like, I'm making another Zeppelin for my friend to honor him because he died. And Werner Herzog's like, you are going to kill more people with this Zeppelin, with your stupid folly. Your
Yeah.
folly will get people killed for no reason, and you will die a failure like your friend who never sailed a Zeppelin.
And he's not
Um,
wrong. He's not wrong. He's
he's not wrong at
cruel, but
all.
he's
The
not
guy
wrong.
builds the Zeppelin anyway because he's an idiot. He's like, I gotta do my dream. And then he's like telling, like, Herzog said he would go on it with them, but then when it's time to film, he's like, I'm not getting on that thing. Absolutely not. No fucking way.
Hmm.
No spoilers, but you
Yeah.
can guess what happens.
Honestly, any Werner Herzog documentary, I really recommend. Any Errol Morris documentary, I really recommend. And then that one, what was it? Capturing the Freedmans? Really recommend. Oh, yes. Nikki Beck says the book Errol Morris wrote in the army guy who was convicted of killing his family. Yeah. A Wilderness of
Okay,
Air.
Nikki Bex, I will say there is a documentary that is not made by Errol
The
Morris, but Errol
documentary
Morris is
series.
in it about the army guy who was convicted of killing his family that convinces you that
The
he
opposite.
100% did do it.
Yeah.
And Errol Morris even kind of admits that he like thinks he did it, but
It's
that it's
weird.
like interesting to think about what if he didn't.
Right.
It's a
So
really good documentary.
the book was Errol wrote the book. There was that whole like table theory, like they couldn't get over he couldn't get past the table. Errol thinks he didn't do it, but then they came out with a docu series. I think it was a few episodes, right?
Yeah, it's like 3 episodes or something. It's really good. What's
Yeah.
it called? Like a
It's the
wilderness of error,
Wilderness
I
of
think.
Error. Yeah, it's called the book is called Wilderness of Error, and then so is the docu series, I believe.
But
But Errol didn't make it, but is interviewed in it, and
he's
then kind of
interviewed in
admits
it, and
to
his
it.
friend, who's also a documentary guy, just keeps hammering him and being like, "Look, just admit you don't really believe this. You just like being able to not. You just know that you don't know for sure, which means that like anything could be true, because like
Right.
you can never know 100%. But everything points to this guy
Yeah. In the end,
for
I
sure.
mean, when I read the book, I didn't think that he did it. What's his name? McFarland? I forget.
I think it's
Something.
also like it's about in the way that good documentaries are about how even like serious documentaries are kind of purposely misleading because that's like
Right.
what editing does, it's like you can't have no agenda even if you think you have no agenda. Nikki Beck says, what about the woman in the floppy hat? Was she just a red herring? um
Hard to
Kind of,
say.
yeah, kind of, yeah, you'll see. I
I
think they talk to her, don't they?
Yeah,
Find
I
her.
think they eventually talked to her or something or talked to her at some point, and it's kind of
It's
like
also like it's one
proven
of
that
those things.
she's kind of
Right, but it's like the real story is just as interesting. It's like she was maybe a teen runaway who was hanging out with these like strung out junkies in this weird scuzzy part of whatever city they were in, Memphis or something, I forget.
no, they're in North Carolina.
North Carolina, right, where she's like, oh, I did fall in with these like scuzzy guys and we were like doing acid all the time and like she didn't know if she had done it because she was so fucked up around that time that she was like, it's possible I could have been there and just not remembered. I think they were sort of convincing her that she had been there because they were like, you were tripping so hard, you did a bunch of stuff you don't remember at all, which is also like not really how drugs work. Most drugs, the drugs that she was on, some drugs, not this drug. um I don't think she like would have killed somebody on acid and not remembered it, but it seemed like they were almost being like, maybe your memories are buried. We decided it's you because we don't want to make this army guy who's a family man look like a murderer, or like the US military made him a killing machine and then sent him home.
Yeah, I mean, the book has some theories, but I would say the docu-series really looks at everything full on and does paint a very guilty picture of the doctor father, McFarlane. I keep forgetting his name, McCarthy. I don't remember, but yeah.
But it's also, yeah, it's great because it's like, I like how the guy just backs Errol Morris into a corner to be like, okay, admit that you don't actually believe your own theory. You just like enjoy thinking about it.
And I mean, Errol doesn't seem to mind. Like, he's like, yeah,
No,
I mean,
like,
maybe,
he's
yeah.
like, you got me. It's
Yeah.
true. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it captures that feeling of like when you are getting into a conspiracy and you're like, what if, man? Like, what if, what if I'm figuring it out right now at home?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
I do think there is a kind of a pipeline, like a direct documentary viewer to housewife viewer pipeline, in my opinion. There is something about reality TV that continues the kind of documentary watching, especially ones that I like, which are almost like voyeuristic in a way, like capturing the Friedmans by the, what was it? Jarecki?
Jarecki. One. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I was trying to make an argument on Twitter today for the Housewives being like, just saying that most Bravo shows and most reality shows are like more about American sociology than most of our fictional shows. You know, people were talking a lot about like, what does the White Lotus mean? And like, what are they trying to say with it? And like, and I feel like that show was kind of just like, it's a fun show for the pandemic that like touches on the themes of colonialism, but like isn't ultimately about anything very like serious. It's like a Shaggy Dog story with a framing device, and it was like funny and had good characters and good actors, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
People who were like, we must like determine the meaning, like what does it say about society? And I was like, I don't feel like it always has to say something about society, or say something, or everyone can interpret it their own way, I guess.
Right.
But I do feel like Bravo shows do say something about society and about sociology, and maybe that's not their main purpose, or maybe that's not how they were conceived. I assume they were all conceived as aspirational originally,
right?
And because rich people are assholes, they just kind of become an implicit critique just by showing how these people behave, even with a camera on them. You're like, wow, rich people are assholes with like no self-awareness and like a lot of covert and overt racism and internalized sexism for these trophy wives and all this stuff. And I just feel like they're all such great character studies.
And I think it's a good character study on ourselves of like why we like, because it's in a way we find these people like aesthetically pleasing. We find their homes aesthetically pleasing because we're seeing this kind of like beautiful lifestyle they've created, and we're like, oh,
I never thought it was supposed to be that. I always thought it was supposed to be like they're so tacky, like.
But it is,
because it started with Orange County, which was like
Orange
very
County.
much sort of like making fun of like the tackiness of the rich Orange County people and who are so right wing and so.
But didn't we start that because of the OC, like literally the OC, the TV show?
And the OC was also sort of like, meant to be a satire on the rich originally. And obviously, anytime you like satirize the rich, some people are just like, this is aspirational.
Right.
I want to be rich and tacky.
Which I think kind of takes over at times because you just want to live like a
Sure.
bougie life and not think
For
about like the
sure. It takes
bullshit.
over. And it's interesting on a show like Shaws of Sunset where they're like very conscious of how tacky they are and they're sort of like revel in it purposely, to
Well,
be like,
the
we have so much
Persian,
money.
that's the Persian aesthetic. Like the aesthetic we thrive for is kind of like over the top and a bit much. Like
Well, I
my
feel like
parents'
that's kind of
home
the
is that.
aesthetic of like any ethnic group trying to assimilate in America, which is what all of the housewives this week ended up being about, that I thought was like fascinating.
What do you mean? How so?
Well, I mean, more on the New York side, obviously, with the Black Shabbat thing. Just
Uh,
that, like, Ramona couldn't drop the stuff about like Italians and Jews.
yeah.
She was like all caught up in like who has it worse, Italians or Jews. And then Ebony was like, I'm black. Like,
And she's like, why do you got to make it about color?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
she could not stop talking. And she's like, I need food. I need food. I need food. It's like,
I
just
mean, I thought
shut
that was
up.
just like a really incredible piece of theater because it was like, especially if you've been watching this show forever, it's just like Ramona's such an insane person to watch her sort of have that meltdown. But yeah, again, just like never reaching the moment of self-awareness that like a smarter person would get to after that, maybe,
Right.
of like these things are all similar but they're not against each other, like.
But I think
And
she
I don't have
also, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, you also just can't like bring it up, or like you don't even have to be directly addressing her in any way. You don't have to be like, Ramona, what do you think about white supremacy? Like, you don't have to say anything to her. But if you bring it up to someone else next to her, she can't handle it. She can't even like acknowledge that there would ever be any sort of like
It has,
inequality.
right, and it's very instructive in that way because it has to do with like, okay, well, she can't handle when the focus isn't on her, and that's just like what white people are like in general, but also what white women are like in like allegedly feminist spaces a lot, just like, I don't like when this isn't about me. I can't handle just listening. I have to relate it back to my self in some way. And like Sonia was doing that too. Sonia was being like, I had a Jewish husband. I've done Shabbat,
Right.
but not the same way as Ramona, where it was just like she went to reverse anti-Semitism so fast.
The whole like the Jews hated me in school because I was Christian. And I was like, what? And then what did Leah say? Like everyone hated you?
Everyone probably hated you in college. Yeah. She was like, well, I just felt like we were seeing some weird part of Ramona's psyche that honestly like was very Donald Trump-y,
Right.
where she's like, I'm like a white ethnic person from New York, but I'm not a Jewish white ethnic person. And that is my struggle. Like, I'm so oppressed because I'm not this other oppressed group that I wish I were. And like at the same time that Leah is converting to Judaism, which I also just think is so funny, it's like, Leah, you can just be culturally Jewish. It's fine. Like,
I was impressed that she was able to do those prayers.
right. I just was like, it's funny that if she doesn't like Catholicism, which is all about just like a lot of ritual and routine and sort of crushingly boring, long things you have to sit through, like Judaism has so much of that too. Like,
right.
The type of Judaism she's doing, to me, as somebody who doesn't have to do anything, but who has like, participated in some of it, it's just like, I was always like, this is so tedious. Why would I ever want to do this? Like, it's funny to me that somebody would purposely be like, I hate my tedious and oppressive religion, so I'm going to enter into this other tedious and oppressive religion that seemed more fun to me, because I was like, pick a real fun one, like
Islam. No, I'm just joking.
Pick Islam, right? Like, pick something like, you're just trying to piss off your Catholic parents. Like, there's so many other religions. It's just funny that like Judaism, but I think that's also kind of common for New Yorkers, that they're like, I'm like feel like a Jew inside, and it's like, that's just because anti-Semitic stereotypes are like conflated with New York stereotypes to such an extent that, yeah, that's just the culture of New York.
Right. I do want to
Um,
say, Engineer Zach just handed me a 5-hour energy shot because I am apparently slagging.
I
But
think you
I
need
never
some
drink
more.
the full amount. I only take sips. I take 1 hour at a time.
I don't think you need that. I don't think you need it. You can drink an hour. You can take one
I'm
hour.
only going to drink 1 hour because I can't go further
Um,
than that.
I also, yeah, I thought the Beverly Hills Housewives
I
also
have
was
some questions
crazy
for you about that.
because they were all about to turn on Garcelle.
Yes.
And then it was like clear that ERIKA Jayne had kind of set up Garcelle, was what it felt like to me.
Yes.
Where she was like, oh, Garcelle betrayed me. Now I have to go because my feelings are so hurt. But it was clearly actually that she knew the story was going to drop, that had the real details and made her look really bad, that I forgot weren't out yet in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as she did that, I think everybody realized instantly that it was true. The only person who seemed a little iffy was Lisa Rinna, and that
She
might be
still
because
is.
ERIKA might have given her money.
You
Um,
think so? Interesting.
but
Erica's, or not Erica, Lisa is still defending Erica.
I know, and just like they did the same thing that they did on New York when Garcelle was like, I'm a black woman. I do see color because I'm a black woman and I can't like not see color. And the rest of them were like, but why not? Like, can't you just choose not to? It's like, no, man, she can't actually. And the way you're all like taking Erica's side over hers kind of reveals that it's an issue for y'all too.
Now, I'm curious. So you said that Nikki Beck said supposedly Erica gave Rinna 5 million. When did this happen and why?
For her lip line, allegedly.
Oh, so this was a while ago. This wasn't just a recent
Yeah, but this was
bribe.
like when I was like, we're being girl bosses together, taking
Got
that
it.
seed money from ERIKA Jayne, and now she knows that money was probably like tainted with plane crash victims.
Jesus. So she has to
So
defend her till her death.
yeah, but it was really fascinating to watch everybody immediately just like shut down forever on ERIKA as they realized the seriousness of what she had done and that she had totally done it.
Yeah.
Because it was also like they're all such society friends. Like they know each other from reality, but like when they read the story and they were all like, they had all just spent a week being like, how well do we know Tom really? And
Yeah.
then they all just turned to like, wait, how well do we know ERIKA? Like, we don't know ERIKA at all.
Now, I have a question for you. One, well, the first one was about Garcelle and Lisa, and now Lisa accused Garcelle of doing it kind of on purpose. Do we think that was the case? Or not do we, but do you think it was the case? Because I'm conflicted of like how I feel about that whole situation.
Doing what?
Of asking Erica that question about Tom calling her. Tom? Yes.
No, I think the producers set up Garcelle. Is what
Okay.
I thought was that the producers were like, "Hey, Garcelle, why don't you bring up in front of the group that Tom's been calling ERIKA?" But they didn't tell ERIKA it was going to happen, so ERIKA
Then,
was caught off guard.
but she still capitalized off the moment.
Yeah, but also like Garcelle was right. Like it seemed like ERIKA had been opening up to the group all week to everybody. It was
Right.
weird to be like don't tell them that thing, but the way ERIKA leveraged it to be like, how dare you, this is such a hard time for me, to like get all this sympathy from everybody of like, god, like Garcelle, you're being such a bully, like this is a hard time for her, like let her, leave her alone. And then ERIKA left, the story dropped, and then they immediately were all like, oh, we got played, like.
Right. Well, Rinna, I don't think she thinks. Rinna seems to be in her own like weird bubble
I think
world.
Rinna also wisely is just like somebody should play the other side. Like Rinna always plays devil's advocate, and I think it's the same thing where she's just like, it keeps her on the show. It keeps her in the mix if she's the person who's like, well, what if ERIKA didn't do it, guys? Like, what if that $5 million wasn't soaked in the blood of children that I took for my lip line?
Right. And that
She has a personal reason to want it not to be true, but it's also like they're still at the point in the story where like maybe it's all just made up. Maybe ERIKA is telling the truth and she really didn't know. And Tom really had an accident that makes no sense when you describe it. And then he had dementia, and the dementia somehow forced him to make another bank account where he like filtered money from plane crash victims and then filtered it into ERIKA Jayne's account.
It's a classic symptom.
Dementia. So I think even though she like knows saying it out loud, it doesn't add up. It's smart of Rinna to be like, I'll be the person who takes the side of the person who can't represent themselves here.
Right.
That means she gets screen time. Very smart.
Yeah.
But they all first Sutton, because everybody's saying like Sutton is not well liked. Sutton is like one of the most hated housewives. Totally annoying, revealed herself as like an annoying racist with Crystal in the past few episodes, and just like nobody likes Sutton, but Sutton was the first person to be like, oh, we all need to like cut this person out of our lives because like we can't get subpoenaed.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, doing the show is ERIKA's probably going to be her downfall. Yeah.
I think so. Well, I think it's like, it shows you how greedy rich people are. You know, I mean, this is also like, I think it makes them all realize that like their fortunes could change on a dime the way ERIKA's did.
Right.
And, you know, would people support them? Would people believe them if something like this happened to them?
That's my question to you. If you are friends with ERIKA, how, like, which housewife would you be? Would you be the Lisa or would you be the Sutton? Would you be like, we cannot be hanging out with this woman. This is shady. I think it's a
spectrum, and I think that most people are falling on the Sutton side because they are just like, oh, I don't want to go to court. I don't want people looking into my finances to see if I'm doing anything shady, because like probably they're all doing, you know, it's not just Jen Shah. I think when you pull a thread on people making money, there's usually some dumb, weird shit in there. I do think that Lisa Rinna kind of came by her empire honestly. You know, that's like the thing I do like about Lisa Rinna is that she and Harry Hamlin are these like soap actors basically who just like stuck around forever, always working, you know? Because that's like a type of person where you're like, okay, you're not an A-list star, you're not the most famous actor in the world, but you're like a working actor who has been on a few shows that people know. Yeah. And, you know, Rinna parlayed it into QVC, which was like how she made a lot of money, allegedly. But that all seems kind of up and up to me, you know? Kyle's in real estate, so that's like sketchy as fuck, probably. Right. We know that Dorit and PK are doing some sketchy shit. They got away with it for whatever reason, but who knows? I think they all just kind of like, it was like the blinds all just went down of like, okay, like, goodbye, ERIKA, forever.
I think I would be like of the Suttons in the sense where I would want to distance myself from ERIKA because I'd be like, wait a second. This is actually, I mean, on top of like, you know, obviously like it being very apparent that she somehow knew because of just the facts that are coming out, like it changes your whole perspective on the person. Like, I don't know you. And this is really dark, like really dark.
They don't really know her. And I think throughout the show, she's always been a little bit guarded. You do kind of get the sense that nobody really knows her. But she's also just from such a different world than most of them, you know, like they're mostly like, she's not like an LA girl at all. She's like this person who came from somewhere else, married a
She's
super
from the
rich
South
guy.
or something?
Yeah, I think she's from Indiana, maybe. She's very like, I'm from like blue collar. I have a son who's a cop or whatever. Um, she tries to play it both ways, where she's like, I'm just a regular girl, but I love nice things. And it's like, okay, but you don't, I don't know. Nikki Beck says the thing about Erika is that she's a person who sought a union with someone who was very, very rich, who would certainly expire before her. She lived without wealth before Tom and knows that wealth comes from exploiting the poor and vulnerable. So she was guilty all along in some sense. I disagree. I feel like taking advantage of a rich man, it's not a crime. In fact, people should do it more. The problem is that she and Tom took advantage of other people together. I have no problem with a gold digger taking somebody like Tom Girardi for everything he's worth. I think that's great. But the fact that they were in on it together, scamming people who had horrible, tragic things happen to them. Anyone who scams on a tragedy, that's like lowest rung of hell to me.
I do think there's something about Erika that always rubs me the wrong way. I can't help it. There's just the way she like talks. Like I hate her whole like I did this one time, but
She's
I
fake.
can't
She seems
reveal
fake.
why or what any details. And you're like, oh my God, you're insufferable. Like, I can't talk to you because you're
Yeah.
always trying to pretend like you have some weird secret, which I mean,
No,
you
she's
have
kind of,
secrets, but like, you're just uninteresting to me up
she
to a
makes no
point.
sense as a person. It's like she wants to be this boring person who's just like, oh, I'm just a little housewife.
Yeah.
But then she has the Erika Jayne persona who's like, I'm this crazy, campy bitch,
Yeah.
which is like what Lisa Rinna is in real life. But it's like, she's so humorless that none of it really makes sense. Like, it's not like she's like Anna Nicole Smith or somebody being like, yeah, I took his money, like, haha, like, fuck it, like
Yeah.
she's protecting him so much that she like has no sense of humor about being a trophy wife, which
Then,
would be the thing that would make her like
but then,
more
like,
tolerable.
yeah, but then like be interesting. Did you work for the mob? Just talk about it. Like stop hinting at these weird things and then being like, I can't. A
Yeah, I
lady
think she
never
can't. She
tells.
definitely did it.
But it's still like, okay, okay, like I don't know. I've had friends like that who are always like, I really can't say. And it's like, then
Haven't you
why did
ever
you
had a
bring it up?
also just like haven't you ever known somebody that something weird happens where you realize you don't know them at all? I feel like it happens all the time with the internet, where you're like,
Yes.
oh, I thought I knew this person, but especially with the internet, you're like, I don't really know this person. I just kind of know them online. Maybe I've met them
Yes.
once or twice in real life, but I like feel like I know them because I see them doing their bit all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
This happened to me a
like
few times in this industry. I've been bamboozled by a few
no, me
folks.
too, me too. I think because I'm like a trusting, nice person
Yeah.
too. So it's like I've had to make myself be like, oh, I don't know this person that well. It obviously happens a lot with podcasting because people
Yeah.
feel like they know you so well. And even if you're someone who does podcasting and knows that it's like an illusion, I still feel that way about other people whose shows I listen to, where I'm like, oh, my friend Matt Rogers was like telling my other friend on Las Culturistas this
Right.
story.
Well, I feel like also the housewives create that world as well. Like, we don't know what anyone's finances are like. I mean, I think Potomac is a great example of that. Is like the women are always calling each other out for having these like debts, and you're like, well, damn, dude, like that's
Yeah, well,
shady, but like, I mean, there's probably some truth to it, Like, they're not just saying that shit. I mean, sometimes they are, but the Potomac women seem like they really know what everyone's business is.
right. Well, Potomac's probably the best in the franchise right now. I'm really enjoying what's happening on New York and Beverly Hills, but I think Potomac is like probably the most solid every week
Yeah.
because I also think like Potomac has always been about sort of like old money, new money, which is like an interesting dynamic.
Right.
Um, Old money people being shisty to new money people because they're like, you didn't come by it honestly. And it's like, neither did you, but like longer ago.
Yeah.
Um,
No one makes their money honestly anymore, right? What's
Anyone who has like a gigantic house, it's like there's probably something happening behind the scenes, especially people that there are a lot of people in Housewives that'll be like, I'm going to build my dream house and it'll cost $1 billion. I think it's also like the more somebody flexes how much money they have, the more suspicious we should probably be.
Yeah.
That's how you know Kathy Hilton is like rich, is because she does not flex it at all. And she brings like Del Taco, which was my favorite moment when she brought Del Taco for everybody.
And she also doesn't give a fuck. It's very
She doesn't give a
fascinating.
fuck. That's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't care how she comes across because she has so much money. You pick up on how rich she is with things when she's like, oh, do you have someone to carry the bags in from the car or whatever? That's how you know she's like rich. But like,
But also
Sutton,
she was part of that conversation with Garcelle where they were like, Garcelle was like, well, I see color because I am a black woman. And Kathy was like, huh.
Kathy's like, my best friend Michael Jackson and I
Yeah.
never saw color. And it's like, don't.
But she
Michael
didn't.
Jackson's not a good person to quote on issues of
Right. She didn't really push back. Like, her only pushback on Garcelle is like, well, it shouldn't be like that. And they're like, well, yeah, no shit, Kathy.
Well,
it shouldn't be like
terrible
that.
if that's true.
But she wasn't like, no, that's not the case. She was just like, oh, well,
yeah.
I'm rich, so this doesn't really concern me. I'm incredibly
She was like,
rich.
did Michael Jackson lie to me?
I know. She's like too above anything and everything that you're like, I don't know if she gets it necessarily, but it doesn't seem to matter because she'll never have to interact with anyone that she doesn't want to interact with.
The bar is on the ground, so when anyone does anything where you're like, okay, you're not in the Klan, I guess
you're like,
you must
okay,
be an American hero. Should we
Should we talk
move
about
on to Below Deck?
Wow, tight hour discussing cultural touchstones.
Cultural. Put Jennifer Coolidge on a Housewives franchise. Start a New Orleans Housewives. Just
I want to see that character that she plays in White Lotus as a housewife.
I mean, she lives in New Orleans.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, I found out. I knew she lived in New Orleans, but apparently they filmed The Beguiled at her house, the Sofia Coppola movie. So she must live in some real Garden District, haunted mansion house.
The Beguiled.
But I also just feel like she's so funny. We need more of her.
I know.
Just being.
She's like a legendary comedic actress in my mind. Like, she's so funny.
She's so funny.
They filmed The Beguiled at her house. I'm sorry. I'm like, what?
Isn't that random?
Yeah, I'll need to look that up later. I'm making a little note to myself. Well,
in New Orleans, you can be like older and horny. And that's kind of what everyone is like there, you know?
That's true. I've been there a few times.
It's like partying isn't relegated strictly to the young there in a way that I really appreciate. Like when you go to like Jazz Fest, like the people that are partying the hardest are the older people. It's like the 90-year-old gospel legends that are playing like a 2 a.m. show at Tipitina's, you know, where you're like, wow, they're just getting better at it from doing it for a long time.
I guess we should go to New Orleans. We're gonna do this show live from New Orleans. Okay.
Love to. Love New Orleans.
All right, let's talk Below Deck Mediterranean season 6 episode 8, baby. So the show continues from the night out that everyone had. Everyone's wasted. Z invites Courtney to his parents' place by the ocean, and I'm guessing South Africa. And I was like, I want to go. I'd love to go. Z, invite me. And then there's a really funny sequence where David tries to put Courtney in her bed because she's so drunk and passed out in Malia's bed, but like can't, and he just keeps like knocking her head into the cabinets and into the bed, and then just eventually gives up. Then she gets sick all night and vomits all over Malia's bed and herself.
It's horrible.
It's such an intense sequence. I'm like, damn, that sucks.
It sucks. Should
we talk about the interior? Let's talk about what's going on with the interior. Lexi, I don't know what's going on with her. It feels like when you put her in like laundry and or cabins, she like just folds in on herself and doesn't like complete the project.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Why is she not like, she seems great on service, but the second she has to like, I don't know, set up the table, finish a room, she
She
just
just
like
seems
doesn't.
like scatterbrained to me, though. She doesn't seem malicious. It doesn't seem like she is trying to fuck up. She's just not remembering to finish.
Well, the whole thing where like at one point she had like left everything in one of the guest rooms, like all the cleaning supplies were still in there.
Yeah, I just relate to that as like an ADD person. It's like sometimes you're just in the middle of something and then you just start doing something else and you forget that you
Right.
were doing something before that. And then you see the cleaning supplies and you're like, oh, right. I gotta finish that.
That makes sense, but that seems like tough if you're like, if you're on a boat, it's like you have to be able to like hang a little, right? Like you have to be able to like do laundry or do the
Yeah.
cabins. Like,
I think we were proud of her for getting further than she had before with at least like trying to do the laundry.
yeah.
You're like, look, she made it to the laundry room and then she set off the fire alarm.
Well, there's a 90% chance she's getting fired because we do see a redheaded woman come up.
They really made it seem like she's gonna get fired, but I gotta say, it kind of made me mad because I was like, can you please just fire Matthew? If you're gonna fire somebody, you had someone ready to go to replace the chef. Why didn't you just fucking replace the chef?
Oh, I really wanted the chef to go and for that new, what was his name? I don't even know.
Luca,
Luca. Yes, I really wanted Luca to be our
we'll never
chef.
know.
Fresh blood. I wanted him so bad. I wanted like I feel like Lexi can do the job, but like Katie has zero patience for her at this point. Like that if that drunken night with Lexi hadn't happened, Lexi would not have been fired. It wouldn't have been an issue. They would have been like, "Hey Lexi, you just need to step it fucking up." And there would have been no problem. But because
Yeah.
that drunken rampage night happened, she just
There's
like
something
has no
there's
chance.
there's like a bad dynamic since then too, where it's like she feels ganged up on, but everyone is kind of ganging up on her now.
Well, they all
You
like
know?
will never get over that night. She just said too
Right. She's like,
much.
I feel like everybody hates me. And it's like, well, they do. So you're
Yeah.
not wrong for being paranoid that they're all like annoyed at you because they are.
Yeah. They are. You said a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like 90% chance she's getting fired and we get like a redhead who's going to come through and like be the next Stu. There's a part of me that's a little confused. Does it appear that there's like one extra bed in the below deck cabins or no?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would love to see some actual photos of the interior of the boat because I've always wondered, like, what does the reverse shot look like of people filming them in the crew rooms?
Mhm.
You know who would know? Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe I had a friend who worked on the show back in the day and they said that like no one stays on the boat except for the crew of the boat. So like the
That's
film
what I
crew
thought,
leaves.
but do they just have remote cameras everywhere?
Yeah, well, I think they have like cameras set up to film things like at night and then like
Right.
potentially there's like a night crew that comes in.
You don't think there's like a cameraman though when they're in the bunk, like when she was trying to put her in the bunk and she kept falling out? Do you think
No,
there
I
was
think
like
that was
a
like a top camera like what Matthew
huh,
was yelling at in my
okay,
former photo.
I agree.
I think there's
Then
a
Buddha
night
says,
crew that doesn't like I don't think they're really allowed to just like be physically in the room when they're
that makes
sleeping.
sense.
That's why there's like that weird GoPro shot from like the
That's why
corner.
they're always showing them taking their shirts off and
Yeah.
putting their bras on. Zin Buddha says the way Sandy keeps blaming Katie for being a poor manager while Lexi clearly is lacking. I find that hilarious though.
Well, you gotta learn how to manage your people.
Sandy's also such a bad manager that for Sandy to be like, well, they're not doing a good job. You better bootstrap your bootstraps and pull your bootstraps up. That's all Sandy knows.
She's a Republican.
Matthew Ian too says, I think Lexi is staying and they're adding a stew.
See, that would
be crazy.
The feeling I was getting, because it seems like it's implied that there's an extra bed somewhere. But maybe I'm wrong. Because there seems to be like a 3-person bedroom, but then potentially there might be an extra room in there or an extra bed in there.
There's a chamber of secrets.
There seems to be like there might be an extra room, which would make sense that they would add another stew because clearly it's a big boat. They might need more stews.
Why wouldn't they just have one from the beginning then?
I don't know. I don't
know. Drama?
But then, like, why would they keep Lexi? I don't know. I just
a lot of questions to be asked.
I guess I could watch the next episode, but I'm not ready to until next week because I like to be fresh with you guys.
I appreciate it.
I'm on the same wave. Can't you see?
Woo!
Yeah. God. What else? Okay, let's talk about the deckhands. So Lloyd has never felt this comfortable before in his life, and that's great. I'm glad Lloyd feels good. He says he's never been able to open up with a crew like this before, and he apparently spent a ton of money changing his career. Okay, see, L.S. Stewart says extra bed in Z and David's room. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it would make sense that they could add another stew. I kept seeing it and being like, wait, is that an extra bed? But I wasn't sure. But that makes sense. But then does that mean that she has to room with them?
Or they'll switch it all up again.
They got to put Malia in there with her deck crew.
That's right. She loves to bro down. Bro down with some boys.
Or like someone might have to room with Matu, which would suck. Ugh.
Yeah, imagine bringing on a new female stew and then you force them to share a room with Matu. Yeah.
No, that's not appropriate. That's not appropriate under any circumstances.
No.
He's gonna, whoever, I think Lloyd shares a room with him. I can't recall at all. Well, whatever.
We're gonna find out.
Anyway, Lloyd feels good. Right, the person in quarantine was a stew deckhand. Right, but it turns out to be some like redheaded woman, so we know it's a woman for sure who's coming in. So regardless if they're like a stew or a deckhand, it's still like, I guess they're kind of forced to room anyway because it doesn't matter really in yachting.
I thought it was going to be like Aisha, but it doesn't seem like it is.
I mean, didn't we hear that she's doing
a different one, yeah.
Under?
So McPhee says we got to kind of see where the ghost crew sleeps. Below deck. Love the ghost crew.
Well, that one guy comes in because Lexi keeps setting off the fire alarm, and
yeah.
Like, it's this. No.
But it was also just like they were also getting in trouble because the jet skis were going too close to shore. So it was like a double whammy.
Yeah, I really I thought that was really funny, but also like lacked the drama I needed in my life because
someone needed to bump into something.
Yeah, like I was like, why are the police showing up?
It's not as good as when that girl made mustard gas.
Oh God, what was her name? Elizabeth? Ugh, poor Elizabeth. She was just such a sweet dummy.
So dumb, so sweet.
Anyway, I'm really happy Lloyd feels comfortable that he can open up with his crew, and this is huge for him. Malia is really hoping that David doesn't remember asking her out, but he totally does. And he says it could be awkward, but he cares more about his job than trying to hook up with Malia. So
cringy.
But yeah, I don't know, Malia's very happy with her deck crew. And I will say, like, it's been a while since we've had a good deck crew. And I know I keep saying that, but
like a not boys club deck crew. It's
Like
great,
just good
actually.
people.
People that also don't like make a weird deal about taking orders from Malia, like some of them did. Some of them were like emasculated by it. These guys are like, teach us how to do it. They're like little cutie beta boys. It's great.
Oh, that's true. Zoe McPhee said Sandy walked down to like the below deck to talk shit about Malia to the other ghost mate. You're right. I didn't even realize that because she was in the not the galley, the crew mess, and then they came from another downstairs area. Which I'm curious, is that the engine room possibly all the way down there,
Yeah.
or are there more rooms down there?
We gotta tour the boat.
It seems like a
The only
really
way.
big boat. You can't see anyone.
Vin Buddha said those guests were really drinking.
Yeah, we'll talk about the
Here.
guests in a second.
Here.
Alcohol now. Yeah, so anyway, Malia's really happy with her team, and so am I. I think they're great. She can take more breaks because they pick up the slack. And also, they have a bit of slide drama, guys. Slide
Little bit
drama.
of slide drama. Everyone's fave.
They only have one pump. For a boat that big, there's only one pump to pump up all the, like, what is it called? The
toys.
Toys?
They're called
What
the
do I
toys.
add? Get another pump in there.
The problem is that Sandy thinks it's like making a big show for the guests of all the beach toys is the number one thing. So she makes them blow up all of the shit first thing in the morning so that the people will be like, ooh, look at all this fun stuff we can do. But then they don't actually use the slide until much later in the day, by which point it's kind of deflated. And then Sandy loses her shit because she's like, this slide needs to be rock hard.
And they're like, we only have one pump, even though this boat is so big. But that really...
And they kind of gently are like, why don't we just blow it up when they actually want to use it instead of leaving it inflated all day, which means it just deflates over time. So it's kind of sad looking by the time they decide to use it. And Sandy's like, because it must be a glamorous display of the excess.
Yeah, she wants to have the funnest boat on the water. And you know what? It actually shows when Malia really starts to be like, God, fuck you, Sandy. Just shut up. Just shut up, dude. Whatever.
That's a constant on every iteration of the show. Every franchise is that
the slide is hell.
The slide is hell. It sucks. It's so big. Imagine just inflating it with like a little inflator. It's so big.
And then you have to like carry it.
And then people like use it and it gets a little deflated each time and you have to keep doing it. It's just like the thing nobody enjoys doing. It's not even like rewarding to see them do it. It's just a huge pain in the ass. At the same time, if they didn't do it, the guests would be mad.
Yeah. Because, like, what are we even paying for if there's no huge slide off the side?
We want to go down this slide 1.5 times.
That you have to, like, grease or you'll get, like, a rash.
Yeah. They're like, we want this slide inflated all the time so we can, like, think about using it and not do it. And then we don't want to actually use it, except, like, twice.
I think the drunker they are, the more likely they'll use the slide.
For sure.
I will say, okay, let's talk about the guests. The repeat guests, Jennifer and Patrick, they love to party. They drink a lot.
I love to party in alcohol now.
They're wearing alcohol now shirts. They want their Oktoberfest party. They want a beer game obstacle course. They have a blow-up doll named Chad. Yeah.
How are you at drinking games? Because I have a prediction, but I want to know.
I'll tell you, in college, I was fucking good.
Okay, that was my guess.
Now? Now I'm not. I don't even drink beer anymore because I'm like, I don't need that in my life.
It's not the beer drinking that I could see you being amazing at. I just feel like you have the ping pong skills. The pong.
I did at one point in my life.
Yeah, I just felt that from you. I could just tell that you were good at getting a little ping pong ball in a cup.
I will say I was in I took part in one beer Olympics and I was on the winning team.
Okay, well, that's not surprising.
But that was years
So
ago, and I have no energy for such shit or patience.
that's okay because here we're strictly no beer Olympics.
No, no beer Olympics, as Molly said, or
Um,
specifically no
I
beer Olympics.
I don't drink beer a lot, but like I'll have a beer every once in a while when it's like a hot, terrible day, like a michelada.
Mm.
Um, but I'm really bad at and also don't like uh, gamified socializing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to play a board game. I don't like to play vampires and villagers or whatever.
Is that a thing?
You know, just like when people are like, let's hang out, and then they're like, just kidding, let's have a game that everyone has to like play Scrabble now for 3 hours. That's when I become Lexi and I'm like, just leave something and like walk away.
Now, is it the fact that you're drinking? Can you just play a game normally if you weren't drinking?
No,
No, okay.
it's the game.
You don't want to play
I'm
a
just
game.
like, the game should just be that you're just drinking and talking. The game is talking.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, like when poker was really popular for a while too, people would be like, we'll hang out and play cards and also drink. But it would always be like the playing cards like supersedes the hanging out always. You know, you're not really hanging out. You're
Yeah.
like, especially when there's money involved and people are trying to like win money away from each other. It's like, that's not fun to me.
No, I actually find
Problem,
poker to be very
I
boring.
think the problem is like, I get stressed out by other people being competitive in a situation like that, you
Yeah.
know? Because I feel like even in a really casual, like we're playing beer pong, who cares who wins? It's the beer Olympics.
Yeah.
People still, especially if they're a certain type of drunk person, start just getting crazy.
Yeah, and kind of competition comes
Gotta
out.
win.
Yeah, competition brings out like the worst kind of toxic masculinity that like exists, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, why? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't. There's no stakes. You're playing a game where you're bouncing a ping pong ball into like a cup.
Yeah. I think I could get into like a personal best drinking game. The
That's
way that these people were like, we're going to spend our super expensive vacation playing Edward 40 Hands on a yacht.
okay. Question for you. Didn't it feel like that beer Olympic obstacle course with how much they were drinking was not safe?
Yeah, for sure it's not safe.
Because I was like, you're having these people jump off boats. They're running around. Their feet are wet. You're asking these fools to slip and eat shit because
Well,
they've been
that's what's so
drinking.
crazy about maritime laws. You're like, they are doing super dangerous stuff all the time. Just the slide seems so dangerous because you're not even going into like a pool, you're going into the fucking ocean. Like, you know,
It just
like,
seems drinking in water sports is such a big no-no in my mind. And then like
such a
that's
bad
all this
idea.
show is.
All the shit, right? It's drunk people in the ocean where I'm just like, oh
Yeah,
my
like
god.
they're all
Like, I know there's lots of lifeguards around, but all it takes is like one cramp in the leg, you know. And
yeah,
woo.
goodbye.
And yeah, just like I'm shocked people don't just completely eat shit on the stairs more. Like
Yeah.
the closest we came was Matthew almost dropping the cake just because he's like a asshole.
Yeah.
But it happens every once in a while, but I'm surprised it's not like every charter somebody doesn't just fall drunk down the like spiral stairs down to the master bedroom.
That and like that they don't just fall off the boat.
Yeah, because whenever, especially at night when they get close to the boat, I think the mistake everyone makes is to announce they're going to jump off the boat before
Yeah.
they do it.
Yeah.
If you just jumped off the boat,
Yeah.
they'd never catch you in time.
Yeah. It's so dangerous. The amount of drinking they do on these boats is so dangerous, in my opinion. But you know what? That's what you pay for, I guess, to like drink in a very expensive danger
That's why
zone.
rich people love boats because they love to. Remember when the Shark Tank guy killed somebody recently with a boat?
No, what happened? Tell me again.
Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, it was actually his wife, um, was like steering a yacht or something and like killed somebody in the water because they were like drunk driving a boat. First time chat from viewer Wingo Shack says, I was on a pirate booze cruise in Puerto Vallarta and I could not believe all the dangerous shit they let our drunk asses do. Oh my God, that reminds me.
It's wild. They let you do
One of
anything.
our, I think it was the sheriff, said something fucking insane the other day.
Villanova?
Yeah. About
That's every day.
it's every day, but he was talking about drunk driving and he like just went on this crazy rambling statement. Or it was, you know who it was? It wasn't the sheriff. It was, I think it was Gil Cedillo, actually, the council person.
What did they say?
Somebody was just rambling about how being drunk might actually save someone's life in a drunk driving crash, because they were like, you're so drunk you don't feel the pain. It stops you.
What?
It was like just the weirdest off book, just like weird thing to say, where you're just like, what are you talking about? Do you believe that being drunk like keeps you from dying in a car crash because your blood alcohol level stops you from injury somehow? Or just the whole thing was so nuts. Just
Okay.
unfortunate.
LA has the fucking most
He seemed drunk while he was
shit
saying
people
it was
in
just
charge.
like, I know, the most batshit evil psychos.
Like, we have very few like council members or like supervisors or even people working in law enforcement that are like with it. It's so strange to me. I'm like, how in the, I mean, I guess it's not because look at our government, but like still, it's like, it's so absurd how we keep
LA's
like
so big and
upward.
decentralized. It's like we should have a lot more council members for how many people there are in the city, but instead it's like this weird cabal of ambitious, politically ambitious psychopaths with terrible politics.
So many. I mean, this country, like, you can really be like a fucking like monster and go so far.
Confident psycho.
Okay, I have some questions for
yeah.
the people in the chat. Real quick, Zen Buddha says you could get a ticket driving a jet ski drunk. I believe that. Wait, Off Moon 24, what are you talking about? It was Def him and not his wife. There's lots of Canadian conspiracy theories about it. Can you remind us what we were talking about and what you're talking about? Because now I don't recall anymore. Yeah, Wingo Shack, what did they let you do? Please tell us. Mr. Bible Pants said, statistically, drunk driving saves some lives because at least some victims had to be on their way to murder someone. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to stop drunk driving. I mean...
Zen Buddha says there's a theory that if you were really drunk, you don't tense up before a crash, so you're less likely to get hurt. Probably not true. That sounds like something only somebody who drives drunk all the time would think.
Oh, okay. So Off Moon was talking about Kevin O'Leary. I completely blanked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was him, right? And he made his wife take the fall or something?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked. Rich people are fucked.
They are fucking fucked. Alcohol now.
And his wife's boat crashed where she killed 2 people. Oh, so they just be killing people. Okay, you know what? Fuck these rich people. Oh, she. God.
One of them was, yeah.
Wasn't there always... Sorry. We're just talking at the same time. Go ahead.
Yeah. They were drunk. They were drunk driving a boat.
I was going to say, wasn't there some British, like, government member who his wife also hit someone, like some young kid on a bike, and then just, like, kept going or something like that?
People do hit and runs because they're just like, I'll pay it off.
There was also that former bachelor, Chris Soules, who had, like, a hit and run and had, like, a manslaughter case. I think it still potentially has the case on him.
Yikes.
So many people like hit and run in a way where I'm like, people know you. You live in a small town.
If you ever look at the list of like which celebrities have killed somebody with a car, it's really depressing.
Oh, Mr. Bible Sense, I think that was an American diplomat's wife in England. Okay, so that makes more sense. Yeah, you know what? Just like stop. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess I understand. Like you panic in the moment and run, but like, Ugh. I hate that. Like, I would not leave a scene because you're like, one, you have a better chance of that person surviving.
What if you're Caitlyn Jenner? Would you just leave? Even though paparazzi documented the whole thing.
I mean, that whole situation was bad.
Wingo Shack says, just a lot of pouring tequila straight into people's faces and letting them swing around on ropes and jump off high things straight into the deep ocean. No one seemed to be in charge.
Yeah,
that
jumping
seems like resort stuff to me. I feel like I just think anytime you let people fuck with the ocean,
yeah, when they're drunk,
even when they're not drunk, the ocean can be terrifying if you like swim out a little too far, you know? And I think that
yeah,
alcohol would certainly encourage you to make overconfident decisions that
for
maybe
sure.
your body can't actually do.
I don't like I mean, I don't like swimming when I'm drunk, like anywhere, because I just feel like
I don't think I've ever swam drunk in my life. That makes me sound really cool. I know. I'm just not a big drinker. I am a big swimmer. I love to swim, but I don't think I've ever been like drunk and in the ocean at the same time. Is that true?
I did that in the Caribbean. I was drinking a lot and swimming, but like I wouldn't say it was like I was always like scared kind of.
Right. Like I've been drunk in a pool in like Las Vegas, probably, maybe even Los Angeles, but I'm just stoned. And because I'm stoned, I like will be afraid of the ocean and fear its power. I like to go in up to like my waist. And that's about it. I'll go in up to my neck, but I don't even like to like swim under the waves or anything because
Well, you don't want that undercurrent pulling you through.
I don't
So a
want
lot
that
of people fight
undercurrent.
it, and it's dangerous because if you fight it, you're just gonna keep getting sucked down.
That's
And
what
then
I'm
you
saying. I
could
just
drown.
respect it. I respect it so much.
Yeah, it's wild.
Zen Buddhist says it's amazing more people don't just disappear.
Well, I forget.
You
if
mean
it
on
was,
below deck or just in general in the ocean?
I forget if it was uh Hannah or Kate, one of the chief stews of another time, said that the one reason they don't let them like jump off the boat at night is because like one guy jumped off the boat and like disappeared and they never found him, like one crew member. I forget, it was
That's
either
so
Hannah or
scary.
Kate said that.
I mean,
Maybe it was Francesca. One of them.
That's obviously why they shouldn't let people jump off the boat at night. Is just even the possibility of that happening. But like, yeah, imagine looking at a body of water at night
Yeah, you
for a
can't find
body. Like,
Glenn doesn't care, but all the other captains do.
yeah.
Okay, Mr. Bible Sands, there's the Dakota attorney general that manslaughtered a guy all Stephen King style. What? I'm gonna need a little bit more info on that one.
Hello?
There was some Dakota guy who like manslaughtered someone, but Stephen King style. Isn't manslaughter an accident? Stephen King style. I don't really know what that means. Is that like you like serial killed them in a creepy way, or?
Yeah, I would like more clarification as well.
Because usually I feels like if you Stephen King them, it was not manslaughter, honey. That was just full slaughter. But if the Stephen King style means something else, then
Stephen King, I know, was a drunk driving.
oh, he hit a guy. He hit and run a guy, had his glasses in the car, but claimed he only hit a deer. Is that Stephen King style? Did he do that, or is that just like in one of his movies?
Books? Yeah, I don't know what the reference is, but I do know that Stephen King was in a drunk driving accident, I believe, and that's what Misery is about. Was when he was recovering from it.
What's Misery? I don't even know what Misery is.
Misery, Stephen King got hit by a guy. Okay.
Oh.
Maybe that's when he was recovering, actually, from that's as seen in Misery.
Oh.
People...
Jack Galindo says that's money, baby. What?
King's glasses were in the drunk driver's car because they got like thrown off of his face.
Oh.
Interesting.
Sorry, I just keep saying, oh, but this is all very fascinating.
It is actually very fascinating.
Oh. He's like, I just hit a deer. That's weird. And they're like, sir, the person's head is on your passenger seat chair. And you're like, oh my God.
What? I was so drunk though.
I thought that was a deer.
That's crazy.
That's
They're
a real
like,
wild
well,
thing to say and do.
they're like, thank God I was drunk because I
Ow.
didn't brace when I hit a person and saved me.
Wow.
Wow.
But Zach wrote, bye Lifeful after he just walked by and hit me in the head. Abuse.
But the Dakota guy only got charged with minor crimes because he's the attorney general of the state. Well, there you go.
And let me take a wild guess. He's a white man? Maybe not. Maybe so. High chance, though. Wow, what a great episode of
What a great episode.
Deckheads Chief Stews. I mean, I can't wait to find out what this new Totes White.
It's like
What? I would have never been able to guess by the fact that they barely got in trouble for killing someone. God, it must be so nice. Must be so nice to murder someone and get away with it. Must be
and be
so
like,
nice.
whatever.
Yeah. You're like, oh, such an inconvenience that you're trying to charge me with this crime.
Oh, I gotta get back and play racquetball.
Love racquetball, though.
Gym.
Didn't I do that to Nick? To Nick's? Didn't you do that to Nick's? I don't know what that means. What did I do to Nick? Nick Turner, my former co-host? Did I kill him? No, Nick
will never know.
actively quit the show. Nick didn't want to do with this. Oh, murder him and get away with it. I fucking wish I did. He quit the show.
Isn't that like murdering someone in a way?
It's like he murdered me, my heart, and got away with it.
Feelings, just like Malia did to David.
Yeah. I wish.
Oh, another great episode.
Also, shout out, Nick's about to have a baby with his beautiful, beautiful girlfriend.
Congrats.
Fiance. Lyra.
First deckhead baby.
Oh, I'm
Baby
always
deckhead.
joking about him dying. Well, sometimes jokes are real. And I killed him.
Let's have him on to bring that baby on. Put a little sailor hat on that baby.
We would, but I don't know if he would do it. He might do it. Look, sometimes when you quit a show, you for some reason don't want to do the show anymore. Couldn't have been me. He loves me. I went to his baby shower recently. All right. Shout out Nick Turner. We're all thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Can't wait for you to have your beautiful, beautiful baby that I know you have to name Anna.
Captain Baby.
Captain Baby. Oh.
Thanks for watching the Deckheads.
Thank you for watching the Deckheads. Shout out. You can follow us at Deckheads Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You know, send us stuff. We love when you guys send us stuff. Any information you learn. Tea. Look, we love gossip. We enjoy it all. At Deckheads Pod, Instagram and Twitter. You can also follow us there. Just kind of keep up. We stream Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. now, but every once in a while we have to push it to Wednesday. Hopefully that won't happen too often, but just, you know, keep up with us and hopefully we won't have to push. And yeah, you can email us at deckheadspod@gmail.com, and I'm at Anna Hosnia on Twitter. Hit me up. Molly?
I am at Molly Lambert on Twitter, and you can give us all your topics you want to hear us talk about on Twitter at Deckheads Pod.
I gotta watch F-Boy Island soon, so we can
let's
talk
do that
about it.
too. I'm down. Yeah, just anything you would like to hear us talk about, just tell us because we'll do it. We'll
do it.
We'll do it like Kevin O'Leary killed those people with a boat.
And then I'll blame it on Molly.
And I'll blame it on Nick. I'll be like, Nick, actually.
Wow. And that's how it works here. F-Boy Island. All right, look, you know what? And I personally know Nikki Glazer, the host, so I can...
She's the host of F-Boy Island? Wow.
You didn't know that? Haven't you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I've been watching Love Island.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Love
Unfortunately, I
Island.
think I've spent so much time watching Love Island in the past. It's just like I have to choose me for once, you know?
I like to let it wash over me. It's like The Bachelor. You're like, it's gonna be an hour and a half long. Nothing will happen, and we'll all come away dumber for having watched it. And that's what I want.
Yeah. That's true. I used to love Love Island, but I unfortunately don't have the time anymore.
Beautiful lobotomy.
One
The
day maybe I'll go
banter.
back.
Have a bit of banter.
Which one are you watching right now? Is it UK or Aussie?
UK.
That's what I
But
thought.
actually, I will watch Australia when I run out of UK, which will be soon.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Cool. Thanks
All right,
for
guys.
watching, everybody.
Here we go. Got another little Caribbean beat because again we are still boycotting the Hanks family until Tom comes out and denounces Chet. That's right, denounces him. Says, Chet, you're out of here, brother. Or sonner. Sonner, brother. I don't know. All right. Until next week, we'll find out. Oof. What a lifestyle. We're out of here, baby. Pineapple gang, represent. Next week, bring your pineapples. We technically can't see you, but you know what? If you just tell us in the chat you have a pineapple with you, we'll fucking believe you. We're just that simple. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for talking to us and hanging out with us. We love you all. We hope to see you next week and the week after and forever. And you know what? Tell a friend about this show. Tell a friend about Below Deck. Keep spreading the good gospel of Below Deck because we need more people watching and we need more people loving. Okay, that's enough of that. All right. Shout out. Goodbye.